Looking to upgrade your floors or remodel your space?
Well, visit Dickhouse Czak Tile at 6403 75th Street.
They specialize in tile, flooring, and home renovations, offering expert design and installation services.
Visit DickhouseCzak.com or call them at 262-694-9777 and get that free estimate today.
Dickhouse Czak, where your home makeover begins. Beep, beep!
Looking for a reliable ride? CarBox, owned by Scott Dooley, has you covered with locations in Kenosha and Racine.
CarBox offers quality used cars at a great price, making car buying easy and stress-free.
Stop on by 1750 22nd Avenue in Kenosha or 3317 Durand Ave in Racine and browse their inventory online at carboxwi.com.
CarBox, driving you to your next adventure. Beep, beep! Fridays in Kenosha just aren't the same without a legendary Union Park Tavern fish fry, voted best in Kenosha for 10 years running.
But why stop at Friday? UPT is dishing up delicious food 7 days a week, including a weekend brunch because eggs and bacon wait for no one.
Live music? Union Park Tavern is the home of the best live entertainment with open mic nights, piano jams, karaoke, and top-notch bands.
And if you haven't checked out their beer garden, you're seriously missing out. So head on down to Union Park Tavern and cheers to a good time.
On this episode of the Ktown Connects podcast, we're joined by journalist and creator of KenoshaCountyEye.com. Love him or hate him, you can't ignore him. From controversial headlines to stirring the so-called city's pot, he has been one of the most talked about Kenosha figures. We connect with Kevin Mathewson. Cue that music!
Hey, I don't know if you heard that during the song, but I had to crack my beer a little early. That was Donnie cracking his beer at the end there. I had to crack mine early because I just couldn't wait to dive into some of this public craft brewing beer.
Yeah, I mean, public beer is number one. It is so great. I just can't get enough of this.
I'm enjoying a light lager today.
It is so good, this light lager.
Delicious.
Everything that public craft... at its public brewing company does is so good. So get on downtown and check out their food, their beer, and everything else they're doing down there. Say hi to Rex, Russ, and Matt for us.
Yeah. Check out their website, publiccraftbrewing.com. And we're recording this episode direct from the Better Call Parise recording studio right here in downtown Kenosha.
Yes, so if you are in need of a lawyer, you better get a hold of Frank J. Parise. He's been defending clients since 1985. Criminal defense, DUIs, traffic tickets, you name it. Call 262-656-9906. Before your mom finds out you need a lawyer, call Frank Parise. And you know what he'll say? Frank you.
And Frank you, Donnie, for that great read.
Yes.
Speaking of greatness, what about that theme song, huh?
Oh, Dropping Daisies
Gotta
does it again. Kevin, that was a great theme song, huh?
Absolutely.
Oh, Dropping Daisies nailed it with that one.
And you know what? Here it's number one in the charts.
And you know what? It's number one in all of our hearts.
Never gets old, does it?
We should get that on a T-shirt.
Oh, boy. So, Donnie, what are we doing today?
We have a whopper of a show today. We are here with the creator of KenoshaCountyEye.com, Kevin Mathewson. Welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us.
Gentlemen, thanks for having me. Good to see you.
We are going to find out your connection to Kenosha. So the first segment, we're just going to get to know little Kevin, you growing up, and how that all happened, and then we'll get into everything else. How's that sound?
Sounds good.
All right, let's dig deep, so to speak.
So you didn't grow up too far away, but not in Kenosha. Where'd you grow up in?
So I grew up in Lindenhurst, Illinois. That's in Lake County.
Okay.
Right next to
far.
Aniak, next to Gurney.
Yeah.
Yeah, small town, picturesque childhood I had. It was perfect. Right on a lake.
Oh, on a lake, huh?
Can't complain about anything from my childhood.
A lot of swimming?
Yeah, a lot of swimming.
Okay.
Fishing.
All right.
Yeah.
What'd you want to be when you grew up?
I wanted to be a police officer. Up until I became a dispatcher, and I said, no thanks.
Oh, yeah. I think,
What influenced that decision to want to be a police officer when you were younger?
You know, it was one of those things. There's every job, someone's got to do it, right? And I know that, you know, being a police officer can be dangerous at times. It can be challenging. So I wanted to help people, and I thought that would be a good way to do it. Until I worked on one end of the line, and I
saw
thought,
it.
you hear all the crazy,
it's not like, it's
all the
not
crazy
like,
bullshit they got to put up with.
exactly. And I had to speak to these people, and I'm like, you know, I at least don't have to smell them and look at them.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes we talk to some good people, but you know, 90% of the time you're dealing with people during the worst moments in their life,
Right.
and having that phone in between you is a little better than having to be right in their face.
And it's got to be hard to end the call and not really know the result of the situation too. Maybe you find out later on in some of them.
Sure.
But a lot of them you might not know at all. Really, it's kind of like, okay. Well,
And unfortunately, like, I worked midnight shift for about 6 months, and you know, sometimes you're the last person somebody talks to before they pass away. You know, elderly people wake up in the middle of the night and they're having a heart attack, and then you hear later that they didn't make it. And so, you know, it's tough, but you get used to it. You develop a thick skin.
yeah, I couldn't do that.
No.
I loved it. I just didn't like the hours.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Had kids
especially the
going.
first 6 months, 12, midnight. Ooh. Sleep schedule must have been all wackadoodle.
Well, at that time, I had just turned 21, so it was all right.
Okay. So was it still in Illinois?
Yeah.
Okay.
This was around Lake Beach, and we dispatched for kind of like 8 or 9 different communities, police and fire.
Were you going to school at all during that time, or?
I was going to community college very part-time, as part-time as you can get, like credit every whatever.
Yeah.
Barely.
1 or 2 classes at a time. Yeah.
Exactly.
So then, growing up, what was your home life like? What were your parents like? What did they do? Did they influence you on a lot of things?
So my mom got a job at 18 at Abbott Laboratories and worked for 36 years straight.
Wow.
And retired. My dad was always a self-employed guy. He had
Very
a lot
nice.
of different, you know, he worked with ATM sales and leasing, credit card sales and leasing. He sold advertising. I had just one brother, older than me by 4 years. So he's like the GQ version of me. So picture me, but good looking and in shape. That's my brother. He's very successful. He got a bunch of degrees and works as a CFO for a big company in Milwaukee. So if I would have just been a little smarter, I might have ended up like him.
Yeah, we end up how we end up, right?
Exactly.
So when you were in Illinois growing up in Lake County, I'm sure you've heard of Kenosha at the time. Did you ever come up here to do anything? Or?
Yeah, I can remember specifically every once in a while when everything else was closed, we'd come to the IHOP.
Oh,
And back then, the IHOP had that smoking room.
yeah.
So we'd come to IHOP in the middle of the night, and we'd smoke our cigarettes, and I'd eat me some flapjacks, and spend
Drink coffee
hours
for a couple
over there.
hours.
Oh
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Kind of like the old Stars and Stripes.
Yeah, we had a
Oh,
few.
yeah.
Marine Gardens was 24 hours.
Yeah.
The one up by Burger King and Walmart up there, that was 24 hours. The Mexican restaurant now.
Isn't the Denny's that used to be right kind of by the Brat Stop? That used to be.
Mm-hmm.
We're old.
Yeah, we are. Yeah. So what eventually brought you to Kenosha?
So I moved out of my house kind of young. So my grandpa told me when I was a kid, you know, he was very successful. He was a business owner. I said, hey, Papa is what I call him. I said, give me some advice financially. He says, buy a house when you're young as you can. Mm-hmm. So at age 19, I moved out of my parents' house. I bought a house around Lake Park and improved it, flipped it, made some money. Mm-hmm. And then I was looking at homes in both Lake County and Kenosha County. And at that time, in 2006, I could find a much bigger home in Kenosha County.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, stay in Illinois or go to Kenosha County and get a big house. So I bought me a house on 21st Avenue in Lincoln Park.
Okay.
It was a nice 3-bedroom. I think it was like almost 2,000 square feet.
Wow.
And, I was 21 at the time, so
Nice.
I didn't know or care or what a school district was or anything like
Right.
that.
Yeah.
So I was there for 11 years.
Wow.
And
Just building equity right there.
yeah, I loved it.
Dang.
It's a good neighborhood.
And you had the disc golf right there, too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I like
Well, that wasn't there then, was it?
No,
Oh.
that came much
They-
later. That was in between my 2 terms.
Okay. I love that course.
It's
So-
a good one. You ever do the one across the pond?
We always skip that one.
always
I'm
did,
too
too.
scared.
I
I'm
don't
too
wanna
scared of
lose
that.
it.
Yeah, I'm like, nope, I'm not that good. No, I always skip that
The
one.
last time I disc golf was the U, and I lost one in Lagoon.
Oh.
My favorite one, I lost in Lagoon. I haven't been back to do it.
I think I fished that one out.
Oh, yeah. One of the 200 in there, at least. So when you were riding Kenosha, what were you doing for work?
So I was still a dispatcher, and I commuted from 2006 to 2010 when I left, and then while I was still a dispatcher, I was shooting weddings on the weekends,
Okay.
and then I got busy enough shooting weddings where I realized I could do it and make a living, and it was really conducive to family life because I was shooting weddings on the weekends. During the week, I was dropping my kids off at school, picking them up. I always had some kind of business venture, at all times. So it was perfect for our, we didn't have to pay for childcare. So it was perfect for our family at the time.
So how did you get into photography? You said that you were shooting weddings. We kind of skipped over that. What influenced you to get into taking photos and professionally?
So I got married so I always tell people, I moved to Kenosha in 06, got engaged in 07, married in 09, married in 08, first kid in 09, second kid in 2010. So I had a real
Crammed it all in there.
life.
Get it in, get it done.
The minute I came to Kenosha. And so...
Something in the water.
Exactly. So after our wedding, we opened up all the envelopes and we had a few bucks to spend, and I bought a camera because I just always had mini hobby with photography. So I said, I'm going to get a nice camera. So I got a nice camera, started shooting, engagement sessions and family sessions for people, and I started to get better at it. I'm like, I wonder if I could make some money. So I just started doing weddings real cheap, and I started to get good. Got some better equipment.
Nice.
Was it always digital?
Yeah, never messed with... I mean, I messed with film when I was a kid, but
Yeah.
it was those disposable ones where you dropped off and an hour later you pick them up. But yeah, digital only. I could never have been a wedding photographer in the film days.
Oh,
never.
yeah. People that expose their own film, that's a dead thing, isn't
insane.
it? Yeah.
You still do weddings, or?
I have... this year I did one... So far, I've done at least one a year.
Okay.
And I hope to do at least one a year. Just
Kind of keeps you grounded, bring you back to your roots almost.
Exactly. And it's so fun. I mean, when I was a dispatcher, I was dealing with people during the worst moments of their lives. And as a wedding photographer, I was dealing with people during the happiest day of their life. So it's a big difference.
Kind of nice turnaround.
Everybody's happy.
Contrast, yeah.
The drinks are flowing. It's a great time. And as a wedding photographer, you're getting the front row seat to the whole day.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you are in the experience right in the
you
middle.
see it all.
It was wonderful. Yeah, I love doing it.
So in 2012, you decided to get involved in politics.
Yes.
And began a run for District 8 Alderman, which is the Lincoln Park, like west of that area. What inspired you to get involved in politics?
So in 2010, I went to vote, and there was nobody on the ballot for alderman.
Oh.
Nobody was on the ballot.
That happens quite a bit.
So what happened was Catherine Marks, the late Catherine Marks, she was the alderman before me, and she decided she was going to retire. And so she wasn't on the ballot, but nobody else put in papers. So what she did was she went to Office Max and got labels with her name on it and passed them out to some friends and said, throw this label in the right-end section, I'll do another 2 years. So that's what she did, and I saw in my district how few people voted, and I looked at my wife and I said, "There's so few people that vote where we are. If I could convince 200 people to check my box,
You're
I
in.
could be the alderman."
Yeah.
So I gave it a shot, and thankfully, the first time I was successful.
Did you speak to any aldermen before that to kind of see what it was like?
I didn't know any aldermen before I announced, but once you announce and people start seeing they all try to, pull you, right? So I wasn't naive to think that, everybody that was trying to get a hold of me had pure thoughts. But so I did meet a lot of the aldermen. The current mayor at the time was one that I met before I won. And, the city politics are not what you think. I'm a kid from Illinois, and I came here, ran for alderman. I thought it was going to be like the Democrats on one side, the Republicans on the other side. It's so different than that. It was so mind-boggling, and it was such a crazy revelation to me how it was different than I thought it would be.
So how would you describe it then?
So you had aldermen that would, even to this day, that bang the drum that they love Donald Trump, but then when they go vote on things, they're voting for resolutions that condemn something that Trump did or something. So some people say it's them just voting based on what their constituents want them to vote, or the way they want them to vote. But it's really not about right or left. It's kind of about, friendships. I mean, I was the youngest by 10 years in 2012. The next youngest, so I think I was 2012, I was 28. And so David Bogdala was 38, and he was the next youngest.
Wow.
So it was basically me and a bunch of old geezers, right? And so
they didn't who's this kid coming in?
Exactly. So, when I was pushing things like Facebook and Twitter, and when I was posting votes, it was like, whoa, wait a second. That's not what we do here.
Yeah.
It's like, well, that's what I'm going to do. So it was a culture shock.
Did you find it like cliquey with the...
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, 100%. And there was even, unsubstantiated kind of anecdotal stories I'd hear where there would be two aldermen and one guy would always vote with the other guy, and they'd say, "Why? Well, he's my ride here every night, so I got to vote with him." But very cliquey. And at the time, it was Mayor Keith Bosman, so there was kind of two cliques, and it was kind of at war with the mayor. And in 2016, that changed. And we really haven't seen that council versus mayor war really since.
Okay. Since Andrew Amian came back?
Correct.
Okay. I noticed in some of the older stories I found about you, you were the dissenter of many votes, sometimes the lone dissenter. You were always one to kind of speak against something that they were talking about. Was that like your reaction to this kind of cliquey atmosphere that you were involved in? Or?
Well, kind of. And one example that I like to brag about now, but, when I came to Kenosha and when I was, to win alderman, and I was running against the late Paul Trombino, and he was involved in local politics for many years. He was he was the president of the Police and Fire Commission, just a well-known guy, well-liked guy. He was a veteran. So I had to knock on doors to win, and I'm talking hundreds and hundreds of doors over a several-month period. And what I heard the most, love the streetcar or hate it, I heard stop spending money on that thing, right? And so I was the only alderman to vote against the capital improvement plan, the very first one that funded the $2 million of the 10. Was the only one to vote against it, and people were kind of like, "What are you doing?" And it's like, I just don't like it. My people that I talk to don't want to spend the money on it. I voted against it. So yeah, and I was kind of the alone on quite a few issues, and I wasn't afraid to be. It's easy to say, okay, I see how this is going. It's going to be 16. 16 are going to be ayes. Might as well. I didn't care if I was the only one. So it doesn't make me any type of. It doesn't make me some kind of warrior. It just says I'm not afraid.
It's a vote. It's a yes or no. Why would they be like, oh well, no, you're not voting with us? I mean, it goes back to, like you said, good old boys. I mean, you have the choice to vote what you want to vote.
Exactly.
I mean,
exactly. And I chose, and that was deliberate. I never wanted to look back and say, I voted for that. It was the wrong thing to do, but I did it to fit in.
Yeah.
Never wanted to have to be able to say that.
That's good. One thing that you were pretty vocal about during the time was the Kennedy Park Drive closing at 7 p.m. It's been doing that for over 20 years now, I believe. And, this is about 10 years ago or so. You were saying how it should. It's a park. Parks are open until 10 p.m. Rumors is that Alderman Hoggard lives right there in the park, and he instilled that so he didn't have to deal with the noise. What are your thoughts on that then compared to now? And
yeah, so that was a big button issue for me, and that's an issue that if you put it to referendum, I would bet my life savings that it would pass to make it 10 o'clock. I would bet my life savings. So when I found out about that, because I had been here 6 years, but I really didn't know all the inner workings of the city, and then I was told, Kennedy Drive closes at 7 when all the other parks in the city close at 10. So I called the parks director at the time, and I said, "Hey, what's the deal?" And he said, because it's tough for city employees because they don't want to wade into the politics and they want to be neutral. They don't want to get slapped or whatever. So I asked the parks director, I said, hey, why is it? And he's like, ooh, you're going to have to talk to the alderman of the district. And I'm like, okay, who's that? Well, it's Eric Haugard. Well, then I started talking to some other aldermen, and they said, don't even try it. He does. He lives on the street right parallel to Kennedy Drive. I think. Yeah. And he was the one who was instrumental in getting that changed to 7 p.m. And I'm like, well, that just doesn't look good, because you go out there and you could see his house. And, of course, it'd be nice to have a private unfettered view of the lake, right?
Of course it'd be nice. Yeah.
So I just didn't think it was, I really didn't think it was on the up and up.
Not fair to the citizens.
Right. Yeah. So I started bringing it up. I started a petition. I don't know what they were called back then, but some kind of online petition, and we got hundreds and maybe even thousands of people who said, change the time to 10 p.m. And, what was interesting is I held a community meeting about it, and Alderman Haugard asked if he could attend. I let him attend, and he went on for a long time until I had to cut him off. I had to say, look, we don't have much time. And he was kind of giving us a doom and gloom scenario of if we kept it open until 10, people were going to die, bodies were going to fly, and there was going to be explosions and mass genocide. And so what I found disheartening was then he had a community meeting and opposed to it, and I wasn't invited to it. And I found out later, and I'm like, hey, man, I let you come to my meeting. What's the deal, man? And so then, I spoke to the police chief at the time, John Morrissey, who's now the city administrator, and I said, hey, look, just between me and you, what are your thoughts? He says, it's foolish that we close that drive at 7 o'clock. He said, I think it's just not the right thing to do. I'd like to see it at 10, maybe 9. You might be able to pull my arm, and get me to say 9. So then I ended up getting it to a vote at one point, and it was probably about 5 to 11. And I asked the mayor on the record during the council meeting, and he said, I think it would be foolish to change it to 7. He said, we've had all kinds of problems there. And I'm like,
change it from 7, you mean?
No, change it to 7. He did an about face.
Oh, okay.
And this is all on the record. There's a video of it somewhere. And I said, Chief, what made you change your mind since when we talked a couple days ago?
Yeah.
He's like, oh, well, I talked with my command staff, and I thought it was kind of disingenuous. But yeah, I mean, I tried to do it. The support wasn't there. And this is the same alderman who wanted to build an addition on his garage, but it was against the ordinance. So then he sponsored an ordinance change to allow garages to be taller. The next day after the mayor signed it, he put in his permit to make his garage bigger. So, I mean, is it illegal, or should he go to jail over that? No, but it just has a bad look. So I didn't like that kind of crap when I was on the city council. So I wasn't afraid to kind of, you could call it attack. You can call it whatever you want. I just wanted people to know, hey, this is why Kennedy Drive really is closed at 7.
It's a bummer because I spent my high school years down at the lake, and all of us did down there. We did when we'd scoop the loop, go up and down from the band shell up to the lighthouse, back and forth, and look for women and try to get someone to buy us beer and things like that. It was just part of.
Well,
there's not much.
Well, there you go. That's why it's closed at 7 now.
There wasn't much trouble though. I mean, we just got goofing around, but nothing serious.
I know. I was down there like last week, and I think I was down there at 7:30. Oh shit! I gotta fucking turn around now.
Yeah, and like on a beautiful 8 o'clock summer night, you can't drive along there. And
ridiculous.
Yeah, I think that's one of the great travesties. Because again, I'm not from Kenosha, but when I talk to people like you two who've been here forever, so many people have such fond memories of that drive and that beautiful.
Taking away one of our greatest assets, Lake Michigan, right there.
And you want the kids to do something. You say, hey, go do something. Well, they can't go to the bowling alley. They can't go to the arcade. They can't go to the lake anymore. Not after 7 p.m. So.
And that's we have a very capable police department. So it's almost like saying our police department is incapable of policing this stretch of which it's crazy.
So, sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. Okay. So you served for one term, and then you had a tough loss there.
Yes.
Where it was close, real close. You lost by 16 votes.
16 votes.
Wow.
16. Ugh.
And who'd you lose to?
Kurt Wickland.
Okay. Never heard of him. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, so I could sense he was going to run against me because he was showing up to meetings and talking, and I realized he lived in my district. So I sensed it coming. I kind of talked to him. We were amicable. And, he got me by 16 votes. It was tough because you start thinking, if I would have knocked on 9 more doors
right, yeah.
and showed him my pretty face, maybe I could have. But, you You can't look at life
16,
that way.
I mean, that's...
The one thing I found interesting when I saw that story was that, I mean, you asked for a recount, which, you're fair when it's that close.
Sure.
That's fair request. And according to the Kenosha News, they said it costs, how much did I say it was? Like $3,000 for 2 hours of work? $8,000 for 2 hours of work? Is that what it was?
So the way the statute works is if you're close enough, which I was, it's free to the candidate. Mm-hmm. So I didn't have to pay for the recount.
Yeah.
And I thought, that's one of the things looking back I probably wish I wouldn't have done, because of that added expense. I mean,
but it's strange that they charged that much for 2 hours of work. The city spending.
So.
That's kind of what I was getting at. Is like the city spending and how things are allocated like that.
Sure.
And if you see any other examples that you've seen throughout your terms
of overspending.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of times it's with contracts and bidding. When you put something out to bid, a huge project, and you get one bidder, and then you go with that bidder. And you can put it out to bid again, right? I mean, there's nothing stopping you from doing that, and a lot of municipalities do that. But yeah, I saw lots of stuff like that in my tenure.
Okay, so you're out of the alderman position, 2014.
Correct.
You still stayed active in the community, though.
Yes.
You started calling people out on things.
Sure.
You coined the community watchdog.
Yeah,
I like that nickname.
Did you find that? Were you cool with that, or were you?
Yeah, I liked it. Yeah. So actually, I think it was the Kenosha News who wrote something, and somehow it ended up on the front page, and it said something like the Kenosha Watchdog or something like that. And I'm like, you know what? I like that. So then I changed my Facebook name to Kenosha Watchdog because I liked it. I liked the way it sounded, and I kind of went with that for the next 2 years.
Okay.
Wait, the Kenosha News did a story about you back then?
They did a lot, and and it's funny. It would be you'd be very surprised to see how many initiatives I put forward that they put in their opinion section. That was a good idea. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's something like around 10. Mm-hmm. And it just went to show that just because you had the best idea or a good idea doesn't mean it's going to pass. And I think that's universal. Yep. Mm-hmm. I agree. Local government, state, federal. The best idea doesn't always win, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. Well,
were you kind of enjoying your time away from being an alderperson, kind of just doing this?
My wife did. My wife loved it, right? Because in 2012, I kind of said, hey, look, honey, I want to run for alderman. It's something I need you to be on board with, because I'm putting myself out there, and I'm opinionated, right, honey? And so she gave me the green light, but it kind of, as we're going to talk about later, it kind of escalated in 2020. But my wife's a very private person. She doesn't share, half of my views, but yeah. So I. What was the question? I started rambling.
Did you enjoy your time kind of away from
No, I didn't. I wanted to be in there. I wanted to be in the arena.
You got the taste of it.
Yeah, I got the taste of being in the arena, and I was kind of bummed out for those 2 years. And so in my farewell speech on my last council meeting, I said, see you guys in 2 years. Nice.
Spoiler, you did come back.
And there were some laughs. And I was serious. One thing people can't say is I don't at least try,
But you will come back, but in those 2 years you were off, what were some of your passions that you were fighting for then?
Kind of the same stuff. The Lincoln Park disc golf, They set it up. It was beautiful, but they didn't have maps made. It wasn't on the website. I was like, hey, guys, you guys need to promote this thing because there's a lot of people, half of them which like to smoke marijuana that would love to know that this thing exists, right? Yeah. And the greatest thing about that project is it brought a bunch of peaceful, good, salt-of-the-earth people who, guess what they did? They picked up after themselves and after others. They didn't want to see garbage. They put it in those garbage bins. Yeah, and they kind of, by having all these good people constantly through the park every day, some of the bad element...
Self-patrolling it.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Some of the bad element kind of went away, and it just got so much use, and that's such a beautiful park. Yep. Such a beautiful park. So I was advocating for stuff like that, and, being opinionated, speaking against, silly things and speaking against good things, and just kind of staying active just on social media, because when I was an alderman and I started posting the votes and telling people what we were going to be voted on, that got pretty popular because people are like, I don't want to watch public access for 3 hours on a Monday night. That's boring.
Just tell me the details.
Exactly. 95% of the stuff we're doing, we're voting on bartender license and boring stuff. They want to know, okay, what is going to affect us?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So that was kind of the start of Kenosha County, in a way.
In a way, sure. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you said you were going to come back, and you did come back. So what was the campaign for the 2016 election like when you went off against Wickland again?
So that campaign was a different beast because now I had a record, right? A record. My opponent had a record. Before, it was this unknown guy who was promising everybody the world, right? Mm-hmm. But now he had a record where, and look, I don't like this fact, but in politics, negative campaigns are more they yield better fruit than positive campaigns. And so in 2014, when I was running for re-election, it was all about, look how much I've been fighting for you. Look what I got done for you. I did this, I did that. Nothing about my opponent. Zero. Yeah. Right? In 2016, I said, hey, he voted for the streetcar. It went up by $10 million. When We Energy says we need that money, he still voted for it. He voted against Kennedy Drive. He voted, in favor of this. And he had a record that I could show the people. Mm-hmm. And I kind of kicked his ass. 200 votes in a small election is a lot. And, so...
Well, just the turnout for that election was much bigger than the previous one.
Yeah, it was huge.
Well.
I believe it was when people were voting for the GOP nominee.
Oh, okay.
So I don't think Trump won Wisconsin, but there's a big turnout that year. Yeah. It was the end of Obama's 8 years, and it was just a massive turnout. And I hit even more doors than in 2012 and 2014.
Your hand must have been so sore.
Oh yeah.
So with your second term, you're now under a new mayor with Antaramian.
Yes.
And you mentioned earlier, you touched on it, that it was a little bit easier. Is that the change how it went? Or?
Absolutely. Yeah. Although me and Mayor Antaramian disagreed on a lot of things, you can't say that the guy wasn't smart. Mm-hmm. He knows how to get stuff done. He had a lot of contacts, at the state level, even the federal level. I mean, so the guy knew how to get things done, and he was a good mayor. He was a hands-on mayor, where he had his fingers on the pulse of what was going on and directed people and did things, whereas Mayor Bosman mainly kissed babies and let Frank Passetti run the city. So it was two different philosophies, and there was no fighting between the alderman and John Antaramian. I mean, very little.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, you're always going to have a little bit of that, right?
Sure.
So you didn't serve a full term. Sure. In 2017, you announced you were stepping down from your position because you were moving out of your neighborhood. You were moving to Summers. Mm-hmm. What led to that decision to leave your home and your position in the neighborhood?
Sure. So my kids were 7 and 8 at the time, and they were sharing a bedroom. Mm-hmm. So they had bunk beds. And so we came to the point where
that's all you got to say.
Yeah, we came to the point where we can't do this. This is not sustainable. And the school district, it wasn't the best school district, but my kids got into K-Tech, so we really could have lived anywhere. And then we started looking for houses. And my wife told me, she says, listen to me, you got to make me a promise. Each house we look at, I don't want you pulling up your phone to see which district it is. So I made good on that.
She pulled the wife card on you.
I made good on that, and I didn't look. And we fell in love with this house off of EA behind Walmart that had like 3/4 of an acre, and across the street was cornfields or soybean fields, depending on the year. And so we fell in love with it. And we moved in. Each kid got their own bedroom. One was already painted pink. One was already painted blue. It was like meant to be. The neighbors, they had a boy and a girl, our kids' age. It was one of those voila moments. So we bought that house. We kept the old Lincoln Park house too. And just kind of moved at our leisure type of thing.
There's some controversy about that. Some of your detractors were saying that you were living elsewhere while serving the district.
Sure.
And you already said you were resigning, so you were in the process of doing that. I assume you have to finish up some things and get some things in order before you leave.
And I threatened those guys. I said, "Hey, if you keep giving me grief about this, I'm going to stay. I'm going to stay till 2018 because I'll sleep over in this empty house. I'll do it. I really will." So, there were some folks that were upset that I didn't resign earlier, and I said, "Hey, look, before we even bought a house, I said I will be leaving my position sometime this summer."
Yeah.
Right? I told them I would be doing that. And some people just wanted me to leave, right? And I was, like you said, I had some things I wanted to wrap up, a couple of projects I was working on. So I was like, "Hey, don't dare me because I'll stay. So, once I felt like, what I could do had been done, then I resigned officially.
Was it hard for you to resign?
Yeah, it was because, at the end of the day, I asked people for their vote. Mm-hmm. I made them promises that I would work on their behalf. I made them promises that I would try to get their street repaired or the lights on their street, fixed. And I didn't serve that full term, so I felt like I was giving them the shaft. But at the end of the day, I felt like I had to look out for my lovely wife and my two kids.
Right. You got to do what's best for you.
Right.
I mean, you really do.
Exactly.
Who was your replacement?
So my replacement...
How'd they do?
Was appointed. So me and the mayor and my mom went out to lunch one day, and I told him, I said, "Hey, please don't tell anybody." But I said, "We're looking for a house, so get ready. You're going to have to find a replacement for me soon enough," because it was early enough to where there wouldn't be a special election. It was going to be the mayor appoints and the council approves. And the mayor ended up bringing all these people in from my district. So I'm like, I thought I told you to, give it some time. For the life of me, I can't remember the guy's name who replaced me, I forgot.
Yeah. Dang it, I did my research.
But yeah, he was an alderman back in the 80s.
Oh, okay. Old school.
Yeah, so he was asked to kind of moonlight as an alderman in retirement, and he took it over.
I'm sure the old boys club probably loved that, right?
Yeah, exactly.
He really needed that $6,000.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That hefty paycheck.
So throughout your, term and a half pretty much of your aldermanship, what do you think was your greatest accomplishment? So my greatest accomplishment, I think, really was transparency. Like I said, I took to Facebook. I told people, "Hey, tonight is these are the things that you might care about that we're going to be voting on." And then after the meeting or the next day, I'd say, "Hey, this is what we did last night." And like I said, I lost some friends on Facebook over that. And so, I was friends with a lot of the aldermen, and I got flack for doing that. And they're like, "Hey, what are you doing?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm just, posting the vote, right?" Yeah.
Well, if they want to know, they can watch TV, right? And I said, "No, that's not how I'm going to do it." With respect, I'm 10 years younger than the youngest of you. This is how I want to do things. Right?
Why do you think they'd be against that? 'Cause you're just sharing public record, just make it a little more accessible.
I can only speculate, but I think what it is I think if they were comfortable with their policies and the way they were voting, they wouldn't care. Mm-hmm. But I think I'm speculating that they just didn't want people to know what they're doing.
Yeah.
That's speculation. But I was very, I was the first one banging the drums for body cameras. I love police. I support police. But there's nothing I hate more than a crooked cop or a cop who abuses his or her authority. Mm-hmm. So the mayor put the body camera money in the budget, but for 5 years down the road. So I proposed a budget amendment to get them in that next year. Mm-hmm. And it was one of those 1 to 16. So I was the only one who voted for it. And then, of course, in 2020, something magical happened. I don't know what, but finally they got the money got pushed in. But so I guess you could chalk that under transparency. And the good cops you talk to, they like them. When somebody makes a bullshit complaint about him, he touched me inappropriately, he roughed me up. Guess what? These cops look at the body camera.
Protects the good cops, for sure.
Bullshit meter detected. Complaint dismissed. So, yeah.
All right. So, wrapping up your city council experiences here, some of your peers at the time said you had a history of emotional outbursts and personal attacks against people who disagree with you. Looking back, do you think that was a valid assessment?
Yeah, in a way. I mean, when people say personal attacks, those are people like Haugard, who that exact word was in the Kenosha News when I resigned. I believe they interviewed Haugard, and he said,
Probably where I got it from.
Yeah, he was too big into personal attacks. Well, you're right. I was attacking your behavior with regard to Kennedy Drive. So, attack is a word that I guess you could use, but I was highlighting something that I thought was wrong. Mm-hmm. So yeah, but emotional outbursts, I never banged my fist or screamed or anything like that, but I got heated, right? I mean, This country wasn't found on a bunch of people having tea and crumpets and with their pinky up. I mean, sometimes democracy gets heated, and I wasn't afraid to raise my voice sometimes, and I was fighting for the people in my district. So, I mean, in a way, it's true. I was one of the more. I wasn't satisfied with just moving on without at least some debate.
Were there any issues that you fought for on city council that you look back and go, I was kind of wrong on that one?
Kingfish.
Oh, Kingfish.
So when the Northwoods League came to Kenosha and wanted to do baseball, I said, that's a stupid idea. We've tried it. It's failed. Right?
Mm-hmm. I thought the same thing when the Kingfish.
Well, they had the mammoths and the croakers.
Nothing fucking worked.
Yeah.
And I was like, Kingfish should go, but I fucking love the Kingfish.
You were against it?
I was against it. And there was a handful of us, and they needed the city to chip in $750,000 to remodel Simmons Field, and then they were going to lease it from the city. And I thought it was just the stupidest idea, right? I said, it hasn't worked. It's not going to work. Personally, I know it's going to offend a lot of your listeners. I just don't like watching baseball on TV. I used to like watching baseball in person when I used to drink, because anything's fun to watch when you drink, right?
Exactly.
Especially baseball. But I voted against it, and I was very, very adamant about not subsidizing that field with the Kingfish. And then looking back, I'm like, well, wasn't I wrong? Because now the Kingfish are doing great. So, I mean, I think if looking back, I probably would do the same thing with the information I had.
Right. Yeah.
But foresight's 2020. Or hindsight's 2020. So, I mean, I was wrong at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I didn't. But
at the time, the croakers and the mammoths were nothing.
Garbage.
I never went to any of those games.
I went to like one or two, and I was like, this sucks.
But yeah, I mean, the people who run the Kingfish, they're bringing people there.
It's
it's
beautiful now.
And it's fun. During the half innings, they got people racing the bases on toilets. They got all this crazy fun stuff. I mean, they got throwing T-shirts at people. I mean, it's good family fun there.
And the funniest thing is, right when you go in on the building, there's two plaques. One is the Parks Commissioners, and one is the Alderman. So my name is on there twice. Oh. And I'm thinking, I voted against the thing every step of the way.
Oh, that's hilarious.
And there's my name. But I'm a big supporter now, so if that means anything to the Kingfish listeners, I support it now for sure.
Great.
So after your time done with city council, what was your plan then?
So I didn't really have a plan. As far as I at the time I was done with politics, right? I just wanted to work and raise a family. My kids were young at the time, 7 and 8, and then I kind of, what's the guy from Back to the Future? Marty McFly, when people call him Chicken, So I went to a Summers Village Hall meeting, and the chairman wouldn't let people talk at public comments, and I screamed out, "I'm running against you, man!"
Oh.
And then I'm like, "What did I just do?"
You're back.
So I ran for village president against a guy who'd been in politics for 22 years, and I lost by 40 votes.
Oh, well, it's still.
So I kind of tried to make a re-entry, but was unsuccessful. I think I did pretty good, though. Big
40
village.
votes?
Yeah. So that was my attempt to get back into politics a little bit. And then now that we're in Whitecaps and our alderman, Dave Bagdala, ran for mayor, I don't even think I had to say anything before my wife said, don't even think about it. So I think politics is definitely a thing of the past for me. I don't think I could do what I do now and politics ethically. So I think it's pretty much anything but a 0% chance.
You had your fun.
I had my fun, yeah.
Looking to buy or sell a home?
Contact Shannon Franklin of RE/MAX Elite.
With years of experience, Shannon offers personalized service to help you achieve your real estate goals.
Call Shannon at 262-960-5182 or visit shannonfranklin.remax.com to start your real estate journey today.
Shannon Franklin is your trusted partner in the real estate market.
Looking for unique handcrafted creations?
Aaron Hunzinger of AH Did It specializes in one-of-a-kind lighting, custom furniture, and get this, more.
Each piece is carefully crafted with care and imagination, ensuring no two are alike.
No project is too big or small.
For more, find Aaron on social media under AH Did It. Yes, that's all one word, AH Did It.
Where imagination meets craftsmanship. Come hungry to Frank's Diner and enjoy some of Kenosha's best food.
From their iconic garbage plate to mouth-watering Bloody Marys.
Frank's serves up delicious breakfasts and lunches every day.
Grab the meal of your lifetime at 508 58th Street and check out franksdinerkenosha.com.
And don't forget, order what you want, eat what you get. Hey, do you want to hear this episode without those pesky commercials?
I do.
Well. Head over to ktownconnects.com to become a Patreon supporter.
Being a Patreon supporter gets you this episode early, ad-free, and with, guess what, bonus material.
Oh my gosh, subscriptions start at just $2 a month. Visit ktownconnects.com and click that link to sign up.
This episode is brought to you by our Patreon subscriber of the week. Yes, it's Aaron Hunzinger.
Oh, thanks, Aaron. And if you want to be cool like Aaron, visit ktownconnects.com. $2 a month. You can get more.
Yeah, please give us more.
You can give us $100 a month if you want.
Oh, God, I would love that.
That'd be great.
Yeah, that
Who
would be
that?
fantastic. Yeah, nobody probably.
Well,
but,
I mean, why would they?
Yeah, duh. Just give us $2.
Yeah,
Take
$2
it.
is good.
Duh.
It adds up.
Get all that great bonus material of us talking about shitting our pants and almost peeing our pants because we can't open our apartment door. Yeah. Great stuff.
Who hasn't sharded?
Yeah, it's plenty good stories
There's
out
people
there.
that have sharded and they are liars.
Yes, exactly.
So, Kevin, how did you become involved with private investigation?
So, when I was an alderman, I kind of learned that you just didn't get information. I thought when you're an alderman and you ask for documents or records, they would just give them to you. Here, Mr. Alderman. It's not how it worked when I was an alderman, and so I had to make public records requests to get information as an alderman, which was so bizarre to me. But so I kind of got acquainted with the public records laws and how to request stuff, how to get stuff, and I'm like, man, I'm good at this. I'd get police reports, I'd get this and that, squad camera footage, and I'm like, you know what? I kind of wanted to be in law enforcement, but I realized I'd have to, see dead bodies and see people injured in car accidents like little kids and stuff. That was just turned me off. So I'm like, if I'm a private investigator, I get to choose what I do.
Yeah.
I think I'd be good at it, and I got my license in 2018.
Okay.
Was it difficult to get the license, or what does that imply?
It is not difficult. They have some kind of written test, or it's like an online test you do, and it's open book, and it asks you the easiest stupid questions ever. So I can't sit here and say it was some kind of huge achievement. So you have to have insurance, you have to be, you have to have no criminal record, and you have to pass Mickey Mouse type of test. That's really it.
Dang it, I thought it was going to be really intense or something.
Not at all.
Oh, dang it.
Well, I'm sure your contacts helped that you had through being in city council.
Yeah, and that helps because for the most part, I know who to contact in all agencies to get information, and a lot of what I do is background checks. I did, for a couple of years I did where I'd follow people around, but man, that sucks. And
Is it like
tough.
in the movies? Like, hey, you got to pay for my meals if I'm going to do this.
Your wife is cheating on you. I have photos.
Yeah, I do have a couple of like quintessential experiences where I caught a really high profile person in a cheat, like quite literally in the cheat, and I had it on camera. I can't. It was just a high profile dude, and I keep checking the court records to see if there's a divorce filed, and no, there was no divorce filed. So at least I was able to give that woman some, not closure, but some information,
some clarity,
sure,
confirmation, I guess.
So so I've done all kinds of cases like that, but I just, it's not like on TV. I mean, when you're following somebody for 15 miles. Eventually, they're like, who's this asshole in a blue maroon truck that's been behind me forever? So it's really not as
fun as the TV shows
not,
or the movies make it out to be.
Exactly. And to do it effectively, you got to have two people, and you got to alternate. It's like revolving tail where they're not seeing the same car. And who's got that kind of money?
Now, would like insurance companies hire you for stuff like that?
Yeah, I've done just about
like
anything.
he took his neck brace off.
Yeah,
he's not hurt. Shit like that.
Yeah, and usually people's guts, well, the reason why they hire you, their gut instinct usually is correct. So when people hire me because they think that their husband or their wife is cheating, I always tell them, I say, usually your gut is,
probably
is
right,
true. Yeah. I can't guarantee results. Sometimes it's hard, Sometimes people who cheat are good at cheating, and they, do it somewhere where I can't see them do it. Or sometimes they do it in a car behind the prime outlets, right? So, it's tough because you're taking money from people who are going through tough times and they want closure, and you can't always provide it. But, a lot of times it was rewarding. And then I moved into basically exclusively doing criminal defense work. So I work for criminal defense attorneys and just help them try to develop reasonable doubt. And, interview the people that the cops did not. And I really have enjoyed that.
Now, being a certified investigator, did that grant you any additional access that you couldn't have gotten, like back when you were an alderman, say, like?
So that's a common thing that comes up. So the short answer is no, right? So I don't have access to any police, the NCIC or the FBI data, nothing. The only thing that it really grants me, and it's called DPPA, so the Driver Protection and Portability Act. So I can run license plates, right? I can run VIN numbers. Okay. But I have to have a really damn good reason to do it, and I can be audited at any time. So what's the reason I would run a license plate? If an attorney is representing somebody in a divorce, and all of a sudden they saw that their soon-to-be ex-husband's got a Porsche and a Corvette in their driveway, and they want to know who it belongs to because they didn't put it on their financial disclosure statement. They give me the plates. I'll have the attorney tell me in writing why they need the plates ran, and that's a valid exception to the DPPA, criminal or civil arbitration. Okay. And I'll run it, and I'll say, yep, it belongs to your dude, or nope, it's the girlfriend, right? So it really doesn't grant me any extra access, but in limited circumstances, yes, but, violating that code would be really dangerous. So I can't go around running license plates.
Reputation on that in line
exactly.
There. All right, so now we have to get to the juicy shit here.
Sure.
2020.
Sure.
Perhaps one of your most controversial acts. You formed the Kenosha Guard directly after the shooting of Jacob Blake in August 2020. Kenosha News said that you were at the scene of the shooting of Blake. Is that true?
Yes, I was there.
Like when he was shot?
No.
Oh, okay.
So,
you visited the scene after.
Yeah.
Okay. What
happened was me and a friend were driving around. I don't know what we were doing, but the video kept getting shared, if you guys remember. And I'm like, well, where is this? And we found it. And we were there probably within 15 to 20 minutes. And, the police, by then, most of the Kenosha police officers were gone, and it was just deputies because they wanted to transfer it so, it's not Kenosha police investigating the Kenosha police. So it's mostly sheriff's deputies there. I saw the sheriff get there, and I was kind of live streaming it, and it was a big deal. And I remember watching that video thinking, holy shit.
That's what I was going to say. That when you saw that, did you think that?
I thought, this is bad. This is going to be bad.
It's the same thing when I saw that video. I think you did the same thing. I think we texted each other like, oh, fuck, this is going to blow up. This is not good.
And so that's why I don't understand why some people back then who watched that video didn't have the same reaction. Oh, this will blow over. No, that was nothing that was going to blow over, because if you just watch that video and you have nothing else, it looks really fucking terrible. Yep. And until we got some more information, it was...
It took a long time to get that information, though.
It took a long time to get that information, and in the interim, it just
I don't understand why
terrible.
The information didn't come out right away.
That's my thing that I was so pissed off about, is that it was 2 weeks later when they said that he had a knife. I'm like, why didn't you say that fucking night? What the hell? That was my biggest thing. And I was pissed at him for a long time about that wasn't announced.
Yeah, and I agree with you. And the police have discretion. They can release information, especially if it's to prevent a riot or prevent, retaliatory behavior. I agree with you. I think if it would have been released a little earlier, hey, we have reason to believe, or there is some evidence that he was armed with a knife and he had a felony warrant for second-degree sexual assault, I think that may have could have
saved a lot of money and a few lives.
It could have,
but
maybe would have calmed the storm just a little bit. I know everything was at a heightened stage, but it might have been a little bit lower.
I think it would have been a lot lower. They would have said he might be armed, blah, blah, blah. So, I don't know, but yeah, okay, I'm done that rant. I was pissed.
I know. I remember when you yelled at the mayor when
he
we
was doing
walked
his
by
speech.
him. I was like, oh,
he was doing a public speech over at city council or the city hall. I was yelling at him.
Oh, yeah.
Well, if you guys haven't already, you should read the report that the consultant wrote about all the stuff that elected leaders did wrong. Yeah. 'Cause the county paid a lot of money to a firm who looked at everything and said, here's where you guys screwed up. And it's eye-opening.
Interesting. So, despite the opposition of Mayor Antramian and Sheriff David Beth, you put out this online call that's now infamous for an armed militias to come to Kenosha. Looking back now, 5 years later, do you have any regrets about that decision?
So, yes and no. So, obviously, and I have to explain this to people a lot, like my wife, and my kids. At the time that I did that, I was a loudmouth Kenosha guy, and a lot of people in Kenosha knew who I was. Many didn't. But I had a Facebook account, and I had a little blue check mark, before they sold them, right? And so when I posted that call to arms, it just exploded. I mean, it was, when you have a Facebook account and your girlfriend sends you a message or comments on your post saying, hey, James, that's a handsome T-shirt, when are you coming over? You get that notification.
Yeah.
But apparently when you get thousands of them, your phone doesn't beep 1,000 times. It just kind of goes mute. So I had no... And then once I started looking, I'm like, holy shit, this is big.
Yeah.
There's 3,000, 4,000 people, saying they're coming. Ooh, okay. All right.
Do you think... Oh, well, go ahead.
So if I had it to do over again, I wouldn't have done it, because it's caused problems mainly with my family. Like I said, my wife didn't sign up for being in the national spotlight. She didn't sign up for the people who, there's people who, there's categories of people. There's people who think I'm great. There's people who are neutral about me. There's people who just don't like me a little bit or think that I do some things bad, and then there's people that really hate me, right? And so the people who really hate me and I think go beyond are the people that, would say something to like my kids or my wife. It's like kids and wives are off limits, right?
Yeah.
So, it doesn't happen very often, but, it's had some effect on my family. So that's why I wish I wouldn't have done it. Although I still think what I did was, it was legal, right? I got the FBI report where they said, they investigated everything I did. They searched everything of mine, right, digitally, right, and they came to the conclusion that everything that I did was protected by the First and Second Amendment. So I'm like, all right, cool. So was it the best idea looking back? No.
Yeah.
Did I have the right to do it? Yes.
Oh yeah.
So if we're talking about in another time, would I have done that? No, I wouldn't do it. It just, but I didn't see it. I didn't imagine, I'd be on Fox News in 2 weeks and BBC and French radio. I didn't think that was going to happen, and I really didn't have any reason to think that would happen because I didn't know some dude was going to come to Wisconsin and get in a gunfight. So,
Yeah.
Now, when you were sitting downtown during all this armed, were you ready to use that gun to possibly kill somebody? Or?
What would someone have to do for you to shoot him?
So, I've been a concealed carry holder since the very first day when November 1st, 2011. I literally drove down with some friends to the Mathewson. We put our applications in a bin. So I was issued it the very first day. I think I was the 130th person in the state. And, I often carry a gun to most places I go every day. Before I was a PI, just because it was my right, in case I'd ever have to protect myself or my family. Then once I became a PI, I had a little bit more practical reason to. And now that, I write about crime and stuff and write about, cartel links possibly, and people that commit robberies and burglaries and murder. It just, it's my right and I do it. But I never have that thought where I want to shoot somebody or I want to kill somebody. It's always God, I hope I never have to. Because at the end of the day, the people who say, oh, I wish somebody would break into my house, or I wish somebody would, fuck around and find out, that's not the attitude to have. Because even if somebody breaks into my house and I have to shoot them and they're dead now sitting in my hallway, I'm never going to be the same. My kids will never be the same. My wife. It's going to be, nobody wants, I mean, there are some people, but people that support the Second Amendment generally shouldn't ever want to kill somebody. So to answer your question, the thought never really crossed my mind as what would it take, because it just didn't cross my mind. But if I ever thought I was in imminent risk of death or great bodily harm, I guess I would have.
So you think you guys were there more to project an image of protection?
Nobody wants to be that first asshole who's walking outside with an AR-15, right? I mean, we have the right to do it in Wisconsin. So I thought if I was out there and people saw me with my AR-15, people would say, okay, I'm not going to be the only one if I do it. And then, that night driving from downtown to the west side where I live, I went through my old neighborhood in the 8th District, and there was people with rifles and shotguns all over the place, right? And I'm like, okay, maybe if any good came out of this, it told people, hey, there's another dork out there with a rifle strapped to his chest. So I was down there that night. That was the night of the Rittenhouse incident. But the night before, I was protecting a business. I was hired as a security consultant because they had their front window smashed, and their insurance company paid me. And so the next night, the Rittenhouse night, my wife saw me. Somebody was live streaming, and she saw me at it. She said, "Get your ass home right now." So I did what I was told, and I went home. So that night I was home well before dark, and my daughter slept in my bedroom with my wife, and I slept in the spare bedroom with my son, and we watched movies and went to bed. And I woke up to my phone in a state of disarray with hundreds and thousands of
after
everything.
The Rittenhouse incident.
Yeah, and I'm like, something happened last night because holy shit. And then I saw that some guy, 17-year-old killed some people. I'm like, oh my God, what is this? And what does this mean for me? It was crazy.
So you were able to go home that night and not watch the live streams later on?
Yeah, it was really,
I guess you're there for your kids.
Yeah,
to
my
help,
kids
help calm them down.
Two nights before that, the very first night, the night that of the shooting, we were watching a lot of the streams and stuff, and eventually my kids were like, I know where that is. That's kind of scary.
Yeah.
And so the night that I was providing security for this business, my family was very nervous that night because I was not at home. And I wish I would have known that, but I didn't. And I just told my wife, this is a good opportunity. Because, I also have my private security person license too. So I'm a security contractor as well, which is it's very lucrative. So that was a very uneasy night for my kids and my wife. So the next night she wanted me home, and I came home, and thank goodness I wasn't anywhere near downtown during all that. I woke up and my Facebook worked for a few minutes, and then poof, it was gone.
Oh, because they deleted your whole account for that after that. Okay.
Well, before that, I got an email that said someone has accessed your Facebook account from a IP in California, and I'm like, oh boy. And then it was down. Boom.
It was gone forever.
Gone forever. Yeah.
Wow.
So you told, according to Kenosha, you said you're expecting up to 3,000 people to come from your post. I'm sure there's no way to know for sure. Do you think that many people might have shown, or close to that number?
There's no way to know for sure. I think that was about the number of people that said, yes, I'm coming.
Yeah.
Do you remember Grambo? She was that lady who testified during the Rittenhouse trial. She carried a big like Clint Eastwood revolver. And Gage Grosskreutz, they both said in interviews that they saw my post, and that's what brought them down here.
Okay.
So I know for sure some people did come here because of that.
Okay.
But at the end of the day, there's no real way for me to know.
True.
So then after these events in August of 2020, you started KenoshaCountyEye.com. What actually inspired that? All this, or was it just a lifetime of work?
So, as you alluded to earlier, kind of when I was an alderman and I started posting on social media, that was kind of the idea, the beginning of the idea of a transparent Kenosha County. And so I no longer had that tool of Facebook where I could say, here. It was a lot easier. You just put a picture and wrote a couple sentences, you hit post, and people would comment or whatever. So I'm like, okay, I don't have Facebook, right? So I'm like, you know what? And I had been tossing around the idea of starting a news website.
Because the Kenosha News sucks so bad?
Yeah. And so, and you know what? The Kenosha News...
I mean, they are what they are.
Right.
They don't suck. They just are what they are.
Back in the day when I was an alderman, they went to our meetings and they covered it. Yeah. But I just saw a sharp decline, right?
It dropped fast,
They've lost everybody there.
Yeah, and when all the good, there's a couple, like Sean, the photographer, great photographer, good, even better person. He's still there. He's one of
I like Jillian, but she doesn't do, she does more entertainment.
They have no local news. It's nothing like, they used to have the court reports and everything, drunk driving,
They've
all that
never
stuff.
replaced Daniel.
All that stuff they used to have in there.
I would have left too. Daniel's getting paid big money from the city now.
And the thing is, gentlemen, I'm going into murder. Initial appearances where a murderer has been accused, too. And I'm the only one there. And I look around and I ask the court commissioner, I'm like, what's the ETA on the Kenosha News? And people laugh. The Kenosha News is not covering murders that happened in the city. And, when we get usually only 5 or 6 a year, which any is terrible, but you got to let people know.
That's news, yeah.
So I thought to myself, you know what, I want to do this. And my wife was kind of like, no way. Your Facebook you're done. And I'm like, what if I create a website and it's anonymous and I use a pseudonym and somehow I convince her to let me do that. So I came up with this persona, Sabrina Parise.
Oh yeah, we heard about her. Yeah,
I had really no. I wish I could tell you some kind of genius thing I did to come up with it, but I came up with that name, and it turns out it's some felon out of Florida. But I made it up. It was a completely fabricated name, and I started posting under that. And for I want to say probably about the first year, there's a lot of people who were like, "This has got Mathewson written all over it."
So it didn't have your name on it at all?
No, my name was not on there. Wow. And eventually, an attorney, she has since passed. Her name is Sallese Mango. I did work for her. And she's like, "Hey, look, I know this website is yours." She says that pretty much everybody knows it. She goes, "I like the work you're doing. Why don't you put your name on it?" Right? And I'm like, "Oh, I really wish I could." So I talked to my wife, and she claims now that she didn't give me permission. But I remember her saying, like, "Look, if you really want to, go ahead." And so I put my name on it, started posting under my name. Most of the people were like, "Okay, we knew it was that asshole the whole time." And some people were like, "Holy shit, it's Kevin? Yeah, that's you? Okay, wow." So ever since then, it's been under my name.
So there's also the Racine County Eye?
Yes.
Which one is that? Are you affiliated with them at all?
So the Racine County Eye no, we're not. There's no affiliation. From what I know, is a former Kenosha News reporter.
Okay.
So she started hers, I believe, even maybe 10 or more years before me. So I'm talking maybe 2010.
Okay.
I don't know for sure. Don't quote me, but I like you have the when you have a term like the News or Chronicle or Tribune. You change it. You can change it to first, the city, and you're not in violation of anything. So I like the idea of I, because I'm like, all right, cool. Like I'm watching you, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm like, okay, Kenosha County. Kenosha Eye. I'm like, no, Kenosha News. I want to be Kenosha County Eye because I want to make sure I'm going from Twin Lakes to the lake, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm like, Kenosha County Eye. I patented it. I trademarked it. My logo, registered it as an LLC, started it. It was mainly just like a kind of like a hobby / opinion thing, and it's a lot different now than it was.
Yeah, it has evolved quite a bit over the years. In fact, like in your early days, and even sometimes now, but some of your critics say you take personal vendettas against certain people on your website. You write numerous stories about them, people like the DA Michael Gravely and even like resident Jacqueline Nicolai. How do you answer that?
So
what makes you decide to write stories about people?
Sure. So as far as Mike Gravely, I mean, he was the DA. So when you're the DA, you're going to be in the news a lot, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, he was prosecuting Crystal Kaiser. He, made the controversial decision to charge Kyle Rittenhouse. So he was somebody that I certainly had a lot of disagreements with, but he was also a guy who would call me and say, hey, Kevin, we just issued a warrant for a murder. Can you please not cover it because I don't want this guy getting spooked and leaving town? No problem, Mike.
Okay.
So, for the first part, for the first small part of our professional relationship when I was a journalist and he was the DA, he ignored me. Just never responded. And I don't know what clicked, but eventually he thought, I'm going to start responding to this guy. And so I always gave him a seat at the table, and I'd say, hey, look, you didn't charge us. What the hell? What were you thinking? He'd say, look, this has got to be off the record, but the guy has cancer. I'm just making this up, but the guy has cancer. Do we really want to charge him when he's dying? Okay, I got it. All right, I'm not going to write about it, Mike. You got it. So behind the scenes, we had a decent enough relationship, but I just disagreed with a lot of things he did. And when you're the DA, you sign up to be in the news, right? And now we have DA Sallese, and I've written a lot of good things about him because I like a lot of things he does. But now I'm learning that there's a backlog of hundreds of cases, and I'm like, well, that sucks. That's bad. Somebody's got to fix that. I can't fix it. You guys can't fix it. The DA has to fix it. Because there's people waiting for justice. There's people that have called the police months ago. The police say, we found the guy who stole this, or we found the guy who beat you up, or who went into your garage, and we arrested him. We sent the charges over to the DA, and now these people are calling the Kenosha Police Department, the Sheriff's Department. What's going on? I don't see this guy in the jail roster. I don't have a packet for restitution. It's the DA's office. So, he's down a lot of DAs, so part of that is beyond his control, but it's his responsibility to fix it. So, I try to say that I call balls and strikes, and a lot of people don't like that. The sheriff, who's been a friend of mine since 2012, I've had to call a lot of strikes on his end because he's, I think he's been failing with a couple of things. So, but I didn't get into this to make friends.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
some of the people that maybe you call out for not doing their job properly, and you say, "Oh, we're friends." Do you hang out, are you guys cool, or like, hey, business is business, or? So
that's just the thing. I learned it's very tough, and God, I wish I could tell you the name of the journalist, but he basically said, that the top journalists, they never become friends with people that they have to hold accountable. He said, right. I can't help it because I'm a, incredible extrovert or something like that. It was a cool quote that he said, and I'm like, well, I got to adopt that because that's me, right? I like to talk to people. So it does. It puts me in a tough spot where it's like, hey, there's a lot of people who are my friends because, I started in politics and met a lot of people, and it's like, but I got to write this. It's and I don't like that. A friend of mine got arrested. Who was on a board, a town board, got arrested for something. I'm like, dude, I have to write this. Kenosha News is not gonna. If I don't, it reflects on my integrity. But I'm not gonna tell you guys that people who are my friends have gotten in trouble, and I haven't ignored it. I'm not gonna tell you that.
Right. Yeah. That's why they're your friends.
Yeah. So I mean, but then again, I'm not the one that's harping on. I am unbiased. I am neutral. You'll never hear me say that. I try to be fair, but if my wife's best friend gets in her 4th OWI, I'm not going to write a story about it. Mm-hmm. Okay, and I tell people that. And,
at least you're honest about it,
right? So and then that's where it goes. And if somebody who has attacked me publicly and said false things about me gets arrested, and it's like at that threshold, newsworthy or not, have I bumped it up? Yes.
That's where the Jacqueline comes in there, huh?
Oh, yeah. So that depending on how much time we have.
Because there's quite a feud going on here. She's started the Kenosha County Eyeball page.
Yes.
That's kind of an attack on you just recently.
Which, I try not to go on there very often, but when I do, sometimes I'll see who follows it, and I'll see friends on there say, what the fuck are you following that page for? They're like, I just can't turn away. It's crazy. And so, according to her, me and the district attorney are running an underground pedophile ring. So, so long story short is this woman, I will say she was a victim of a crime. I won't go any farther. And there were some details in my report that she didn't like. Mm-hmm. It embarrassed her. She reached out to me. She pulled on my heartstrings. I did it. I took some of the details down, which I've never done before, right?
Okay.
And I'm like, oh my God, what do I do? You know, and that was when I was in my infancy, not infancy, but I wasn't quite. I learn every day, right?
Yeah.
And so I did what she asked me. I took down some details, and then she's like, hey, there's so many hateful comments about me. Can you turn off the comments? I turned off the comments, right? And so I was at that axe throwing place, holding my beer. And I was there with my wife and her friend, and she comes walking in, and I'm like, oh, hey, Jackie. And she ignored me. And I'm like, oh, wow, it's kind of whatever. You know, I mean, I didn't need a thank you or whatever, but it was just kind of interesting. And then she emailed me later, and she said, hey, I'm a victim advocate for name redacted, right? And you posted her mugshot because she got arrested. She's, I'm demanding that you take that down. And I'm like, wait a second, you're a victim. You work for the DA's office? Because a victim witness advocate is somebody who works for the DA's office.
Okay.
And I told her, I'm like, sorry, no, I made the editorial decision to post this, and that's staying up. She didn't like that. So then she's all over the internet motherfucking me that I'm the most unethical journalist in the entire world, and I'm an asshole, and I'm a prick. And I'm like, okay, whatever. Just I forgot about it, right? Well, then the jail roster comes up, and I see her face, right? And I see intoxicated use of a firearm. So would that have normally been 100% newsworthy? It would have been in that line where I'd have to read it. And if there are some extenuating, of course, if it was the mayor, an alderman, or a county board supervisor, or one of you two guys, maybe, when you're somebody that people listen to and people look up to, or people, get their news or their entertainment from, it puts you in a little different category. I'm sure you guys agree with me. So, with that one, did the fact that she's motherfucking me help her case? No, it didn't help her case. I'm only a human being. So yeah, that pretty much solidified the fact that her arrest for carrying a gun while drunk was getting written. And so I wrote it. And then she, for the next several months, continued to message me incessantly over and over. And I told her probably 10 times, you got to stop this, or I'm going to call the police. I'm going to get a restraining order. She wouldn't stop. I got a restraining order. When she appealed it, and then she lost the appeal. And then she still continued to contact me. She's on she's online calling me a pussy and a bitch. And I'm like, are you nuts? You can't be contacting me. The commissioner and a judge said, leave the guy alone. So now the police department sent over charges to the DA's office. So I'm hoping, she gets arrested or, charged in the next couple of weeks. But, I don't want to get into very specifics, but she's not. Some would say she's a dangerous person, and she's a therapist and she's a foster mom, right? So I'm thinking if she's going to foster some kids, there's just some things people ought to know. And if you've seen the videos that I posted with body cams, there's some very concerning stuff there. And when somebody is out there telling people that I'm breaking into the hospitals and stealing patient records and stuff, which I don't even know if that's possible. I don't even think hospitals keep file cabinets anymore. But that's what I'm doing. I'm going into the hospitals and I'm
wearing a trench coat.
Yeah, and I'm raiding their files and all that stuff. And I have a police scanner and it records 24/7. So when they went to her house, I know what happened because I used to be a dispatcher. I know when cops are talking on the radio what they're saying, right? I know what they mean. So is it a feud? Kind of, but the point of me saying, hey, look at this crazy woman who just got involuntarily committed. It's important for people to know that because there's people out there that might not know me. They might trust what she says and they're like, oh, wow, Kevin Mathewson is running a pedophile ring, or he abuses his wife, or he cheats on his wife, which is just some of the things she said about me. I'm like, if even a couple of people believe that, that's wrong.
She said those things?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's just, she's put my personal address on Facebook, my address on Facebook. It's not illegal, but it's just. So, yeah, I mean, I guess you could call it a feud, but if she would just leave me the hell alone, she doesn't have. And, look, her sister called me, and she's like, my sister's going to kill herself if you keep going after her. I said, I'm just defending myself. I said, look, tell her if she shuts up and stops accusing me of these crazy false things, I'm going to leave her alone. I just don't want I want my mouth to be my name to be kept out of her mouth, and I can keep her name out of my mouth as kind of a truce. And her sister said, she'll never do that. She's crazy. And I said, okay, I tried.
You put it out there.
Yeah.
Well, so, Kevin, many of your stories, particularly more in the early days of Kenosha County I, you would inject a bit of political divisiveness. You'd tell the truth, but you'd kind of put in your own little jabs in there about offenders. You'd make sure you listed their political affiliation, especially if it didn't agree with yours. Many times you use a negative tone with that. Why did you feel that was imperative then? And do you still feel like the need to do it?
So that's a good question. So obviously when I started out and now, things have changed, right? As I began to get busier and busier, and now I just looked at my numbers today, it's like 850,000 unique IPs for the last rolling month. So when I started to get to 100 and 200 and 300, and actually I had this conversation with former District Attorney Mike Graveler. He said, Kevin, you really got to take a step back and realize that now that, he's like, look, I acknowledge you've got a niche, and he's like, a lot of people are going to you for news, so you got to be careful with what you're doing because it has effect on people's lives. I'm like, oh, shit, he's right. So I have to be more deliberate with what I do, right? So, I won't tell you what, but there's been some articles that I've removed over the years that I thought, Jesus, what did I do that for? That was a personal matter. It's embarrassing. It has nothing to do with, and I took them down, right?
Okay.
So I've learned, but look, I'm a conservative. I'm sure that's no secret.
Right.
And so if someone does something stupid and they're a Democrat, am I going to put the D after the name? Yeah. I mean, does that meet the Associated Press guidelines of ethics? Probably not.
But it is your site.
Right.
I mean, you created it. I mean, just like this is our show, we can say what we want.
Sure. And I get criticized. And as I move towards legitimacy, I'm starting to, I just wrote yesterday a story about, the centennial celebration of the courthouse. And I put an R and a D in front of everybody. But you have people like County Executive Samantha Kirkman, who for 22 years was a Republican in the state assembly. And now she's a county executive, which is technically nonpartisan, but we know she's a Republican, right? I mean, we know that, right? Pastor Jonathan Barker. The New York Times wrote an article about him. The newspaper in Milwaukee, the Kenosha News, they all said liberal activist. Well, I said it first. I said he's a liberal activist. People are like, how do you know he's a liberal? I'm like, because he says he is. So, yeah, I mean, do I sometimes work in the gray a little bit? Yeah, but I don't want to be one of those people that say, hey, look, I'm on the up and up, and I'm a model of ethics and fall short. So I just tell people, hey, look, at the end of the day, I don't want to say it's my website. I do what I want, but in a way, that's the reality of it, and so the numbers don't necessarily measure to my ethics, right? Because people like to click on those links about, oh my God, the court commissioner did what, or today the headline I wrote said, woman beats boyfriend's fiance with hammer. So people are like, holy cow, and they click on it. So that one's got 60,000 clicks already in 8 hours, right? So does that mean I'm ethical and great because people are clicking on it? No, it's a headline. It's a it's a compelling headline that people click on. But that being said, though, I do realize that the more people that put eyes on my website, the more deliberate and thoughtful I have to be on what I do, because when there's a lot of people looking at what I write, I have to make sure that everything that I put on there I'm proud of, and when I'm on my dying deathbed, I can say I stand by that. And there was some articles that I wouldn't have stood by, so I took them down silently.
Could you tell us any of them? A little hint.
I can't.
Did any of them have to do with Sergeant Hard?
No, those are going to stay up forever.
Okay. All right.
Those articles have taken Viagra. They will stay up forever.
Because some people said about your Kenosha County I page that you were telling the truth, but you were kind of a dick about it.
Yeah,
that's what I've heard.
Yeah.
So you're kind of like lightening up a little bit on that, maybe, or trying to.
They're right.
Is it because you have sponsors? You have a lot of advertising?
No, here's the thing: yeah, you're exactly right, and people can criticize me for being a dick. They can criticize me for being conservative. They can criticize me for being too radical on the Second Amendment. They can criticize me for anything they want. That's fine. They can't say that I lie, right? Because there's been a few times when I've gotten stuff wrong. Gage Grosskreutz, he testified at the Rittenhouse trial that his concealed carry license was expired, right? So I beat him up over that. I said, that asshole was carrying a gun illegally. Mm-hmm. Well, then he reached out to me and he said, Kevin, I got to tell you, you wrote that story. It's wrong. Here's my documentation. He emailed the DOJ, got the records, and I said, hey, I was wrong, but that Tom Binger was the one who convinced you to say, yes, it was expired. Yeah. So it wasn't my fault, but I got it wrong. So I corrected it, and I ran a piece that says, hey, look, I got it wrong. I didn't do anything malicious, but that was what he testified to. So I fixed it, right? And so at the end of the day, no one can ever say I lied about something. They can say my opinion sucks, or the way I feel about this is horseshit, but I want to make sure that no one can ever say you lied. Mm-hmm. And I always have, whenever somebody says, hey, you lied about this or whatever. Here's the thing: when I'm reporting about, let's say a murder accusation, I get the criminal complaint, and this is what the cop told the prosecutor is telling the court. Mm-hmm. So I say, according to the criminal complaint, this guy punched him and shot him in the face, and I write that. And somebody says, well, you're lying. I said, well, that statement might not be true. We might find out at trial that he didn't punch him first. He just shot him.
Just filing what's
I'm
in the
just
report.
Writing what's... So it's true that according to the criminal complaint. So I have to, I got sued by a crooked cop for defamation. And I prevailed, and he had to pay me 5 figures. It was kind of cool.
Wow. Nice.
But so I have to be very careful.
Brought Subway for all of us then.
Exactly. So at the end of the day, as long, my number one thing is I want everything to be true. And, do I have some things to work on? Sure. And the more legitimate I want to be seen, there's some things I have to, fine tune. Like there was recently a motion filed in the Trenton Connects case where the lawyer said DA Sallese needs to be disqualified because he's friends with Kevin Mathewson, and Kevin Mathewson calls the shots in Kenosha. And I'm like, I call the shots at the DA's office because I have a woman who violated a restraining order against me months ago, and I can't get the DA's office to charge this woman. So if I ran the DA's office, she'd have been charged. But at the end of the day, that story I put out both sides. What I say, what the prosecutor said, and people could decide which way, And at the end of the day, if you guys ever read a story of mine and you disagreed with the slant or something, you're going to disregard it. You're just going to look at the facts. Okay, so this guy did this. Okay,
right. Mm-hmm.
I don't care when Mathewson says career criminal or
liberal
activist. You tune that out because you guys are intelligent and you push that aside. And I think that's what most people do.
Okay,
I agree. I mean. And then, do you ever think that the Kenosha County will maybe maybe you already have overtake the Kenosha News, as maybe you would be almost an everyday kind of paper, so to speak? Obviously, print is pretty much dead, but is that like a dream of yours?
So I will tell you this. So Kenosha County I+. That's
a pay service you recently started there.
Yeah, so it's $5 a month, or if you pay a year in advance, it's $55, so you save $5. And I did a fair special, $50 for a whole year, and I got tons of people. Wow. And it was so. I will tell you that it is extremely successful. So it's to the point now where my wife hated, Kenosha County. I don't want to say she hated
now she's like, buy me this. I love this.
The Kenosha County I was a thorn in her side that she's a wonderful woman, accepted and just let go. But now that I'm generating some real revenue, where I'm scaling back clients for PI work, my wife is now, oh, hey, somebody at work said, a story you wrote, and I'm like, oh, really? I thought you don't read it at all, So luckily, there's people, the way I look at it is I was kind of giving away crack for free for a long time, right? And now I'm charging for it. And I know that's kind of a bad analogy, but a lot of people just have to read these things. And you know what? Like I said, the Kenosha News is just not covering shit, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm covering everything I can. So I'm nearly at the point where I'm going to have a staff, where I'm going to have people that are going to cover specific
Do you currently
things.
have any contributors, or is it all you?
So I do have some contributors that write guest posts, a couple of attorneys. I have a couple of contributors that write under pseudonyms, and I have some people that work behind the scenes because I was spelling a lot of shit wrong for a long time. So now I have a process where somebody gets it before it gets published.
Oh, nice.
They make sure that, but, we're going to miss some things once in a while, but so do I want to overtake the Kenosha News? You're damn right I do.
Oh, yeah, that's the goal, right?
So I want, what I really want to do is I want to get and some of my readers don't like this idea, but I want to get a liberal writer. I want to get somebody who has opposite views from me.
That's a great idea.
To write stuff, because I want people to get both takes. On stuff.
Well, those comment sections are going to be wild.
Yeah, exactly. So that's and I've been talking with some people who are interested, and I'm really excited for the future of Kenosha County Eye. And like I said, it's successful. I've got a core group of great advertisers. I've got a lot of subscribers, and it's only going to go up from here.
That's great.
About Time Moving System. It's about time moving was easy.
Wow, local or long distance, big or small, Quinn and his experienced team have got you covered.
Make the move today by calling Quinn at 262-222-2624 or visit abouttimemoving.com today. Get a move on!
5 stars. Before their tragic accident earlier this year, White Lilac was a great micro venue in downtown Kenosha. Unfortunately, they had a wall issue and are forced to close. But the community can help out and make White Lilac come back to life by visiting their website, whitelilackenosha.com, to help with their GoFundMe.
Experience Kenosha like never before with Lakeshore Pedal Tours.
Hop on a 14 or 16 passenger open-air trolley. They're rolling parties on wheels.
Perfect for pub crawls, celebrations, or sightseeing. You can customize your tour with 2 to 3 downtown stops of your choice.
And you can bring your own beers.
Book your party today at lakeshorepedal.com and pedal your way to fun.
Woohoo! All right, it's time for Kenosha Connects. That's brought to you this week by Casey Family Options.
Need help after losing a loved one?
Casey Family Options has been here for over 50 years, offering simple, caring funeral and cremation services.
Steve and his team will guide you every step of the way.
Visit.
What?
Could you sound even more pretentious? Visit them at 3016 75th Street or visit CaseyFamilyOptions.com for more information.
All right, Kevin, you ready for our Kenosha Connects questions?
Hit me.
All right, what was the last great meal you had in Kenosha?
Oh my goodness, the avocado salad at Red Robin. I know it's not really a Kenosha place, but
hey, but it's in
when
Kenosha.
You're on keto, that's
there
key.
You go. What's the Red Robin slogan? Oh, I can't think.
Red Robin.
Yeah, that's it.
You got to listen to it 8 times when you go to eat. Red Robin.
I ever tell you a funny story when I was at Red Robin? Oh, this is hilarious. I went there with my brother, and I said, I gotta go to the bathroom. I'll be right back.
Oh no!
And I told all the waitresses and the servers, hey, it's that guy's birthday. It was totally not his birthday. So we're eating, and all of a sudden they all come up singing happy birthday. And he's like, what the fuck is going on? He was so pissed off, and it was so great. But he got free ice cream.
I'm going to have to use that one.
Hey, that's good. That's good.
All right, Kevin. When was the last time you put your feet in Lake Michigan?
Oh, man. I would say probably doing a wedding maybe 3 or 4 years ago.
Okay.
I'd take off my shoes and socks and get some picture, the quintessential walking the beach photos.
Get in the water, get that angle.
It's really never for fun because it's just too cold for me.
yeah. We were in there. Yeah, it's chilly.
Have you ever pissed in the Kenosha Piss Tunnel?
No, but I've just finally learned of the. I've seen it. That whoever runs that Kenosha, city of Kenosha,
They do great work, don't they?
They do great work.
Yeah, they really do.
I had to go serve some process in it, and I saw the piss tunnel. I'm like, oh my god!
There it is.
Check it out.
Did it light up like a yellow sun piss?
Yeah, and I don't know why, but I took some pictures of it, and there's people outside like wondering, why is this guy taking pictures with a professional camera of a decrepit tunnel? And I'm like, I found the piss tunnel, and I was so excited. And I went through it, and it smelled bad. I don't know if it was piss, but it was definitely something unsavory.
Yeah, that City of Kenosha page is great.
Yeah, it is so good.
Here's a good one. When was the last time you rode the streetcar?
Ooh, it's been a while since my kids were little.
Yeah, it's pretty for the kids, right? I mean,
yeah, it's for the kids, and it's look, we have it, might as well keep it, but expansion, nah. But yeah, the kids love it, and actually the University of Wisconsin Madison marching band rode the streetcar yesterday and got off at the courthouse.
Oh,
so
cool.
That's the most people I've seen that in a while.
Yeah, I live down here, and I drive by and go, is anyone on there? Nope, nobody on there today.
For me, it's got to be 8 to 10 years.
Yeah.
8 to 10 years.
Where in Kenosha would you recommend someone going on a first date?
Same place I went on a first date.
Oh, where?
Buffalo Wild Wings.
Oh, okay.
Because you know what? There's not a lot of tension. It's not too quiet and intimate, but it's not crazy.
You can turn your attention to a TV if it goes bad.
Exactly. So that's where I went with my wife on our first date, and we've been married now coming up on 17 years. So it worked for us, so I hope it works for everybody
Buffalo
else.
Wild Wings is the way to go.
All right, so you said you haven't drank in a long time, but you were a young man here in Kenosha.
Oh, yeah.
So in which Kenosha bar do you think you spent the most money in?
Oh, my God. There's no doubt about it. Coin Sports Bar.
Good old
I
Mark
spent
Gascoigne's
lots
bar.
of my money at that place. And I actually met my wife right next door at, what the hell? Rendezvous.
Oh, Rendezvous.
Because at the time, if you remember, it was the only smokeless bar.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I had some, I wasn't really for the smoking ban, but I didn't smoke. I smoked in a previous life, but it was nice to go there because you didn't have to worry about the smoke and stuff. And that's where I met my wife. And then on the other side, you had Pavles, God rest his soul, but he would give you shots until 2:29 on the weekends or 1:59 on the weekdays. Kenosha is a worser place without him around. But yeah, I spent a lot of money at Coin Sports Bar.
Did Rob get the shaft with, is it Rob? Yeah, Rob Gascoigne. Did you get the shaft with coins getting shut down like that? Or do you think that was validated?
I want to say it was the new owner. It was after Mark.
Oh,
that
that's
got
right.
shut
That's
down.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Mark.
Mark.
Yeah,
Mark.
Yeah.
Mark. Yeah, Mark.
Yeah,
was
Mark
the owner.
Mark.
He already
And then
sold
Mark-
out.
Yeah.
But then they closed it down because they had like one incident, wasn't it? I mean,
I believe that was with the new. It was the guy who owned that Duke's Country Saloon.
Okay.
I forgot his name. It's not coming to me, but
all right.
yeah,
You think that was validated?
yeah.
Do you remember anything about
Yeah,
that? or-
because Mark got out of it before.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
I think it was a New Year's Eve incident, was shooting in the parking lot. If I
Yeah,
remember
I
correctly.
think you're right. Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I think they got the shaft. I mean, it's one of those things where, how do you tell a bar, you play hip hop music? We don't want you to play hip hop music.
Yeah.
So, a bar can't control what happens in the parking lot. So it's one of those fine lines where, are you going to penalize somebody for what happened outside? It's even hard to penalize them for what happened inside. As long as you call the police and you have security.
Yeah, you're doing what you can. It's
Yeah.
just, well, I think, I look at what happened with coins. I look at what happened to the bar on, was it 49th and Sheridan?
Oh, yeah.
Where the city paid them for their
The
business.
city
They
bought
paid them
the
to
bar.
close
Like, can
down
we
the
just
bar.
buy your bar? Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Red
It's
zone.
wow.
Red zone.
Red zone, yeah, they're
If
called.
I was every bar, I'd be like, come on, city, buy me,
Yeah, exactly.
buy me,
Yeah,
buy
exactly.
me, buy me. All right, if you could pick one Kenosha bar to be featured on
Business.
Bar Rescue.
Oh, Bar Rescue. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Ask him.
If you could pick one Kenosha bar to be featured on Bar Rescue, what bar would you pick?
So are we going? Is this question coming from which one needs to be fixed, or which one would I just like to see fixed?
Either or.
I would say, is Earl still around?
Nah, they tore Earl's down.
Yes, he hasn't been out drinking in a while. So he doesn't really know
you're
the
right.
present state of ours.
how about, is Patio still open?
Yes.
I love that place.
Yeah, it's one of our
I
favorites.
used to love that
It's
place.
one of our
So I would
favorites
say
still.
go to. I'm not saying that it needs to be rehabbed. I'm just saying it would be cool to see patios featured in a national
That would
spotlight
be.
like that.
Oh, that would be. Wouldn't that be amazing? Clean these spider webs off. Clean the dog poop out of the backyard. But that's the charm. What I like about it.
Yeah, that place is cool.
The men's room that's constantly smells like piss, no matter how clean they try.
Yeah. But you know what I do love about patios? They don't allow Canhead in there.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, really? He's banned, huh?
Yeah. He doesn't remember why, but I think he really does.
Oh, Canhead. Kevin, what is one thing you wish you could change about Kenosha?
Oh, my goodness. I wish I could. What I could change about Kenosha.
That's a thinker, right?
Yeah, that is a thinker. I mean, I think there's a lot of things I wish there was a little less crime. It's not a dangerous place to live. It's a very safe place to live. I just wish that people from the bad people from Chicago and Milwaukee would stay the hell out of Kenosha. So I wish we could have some kind of metal detector for bad people that come from out of state and out of the county. But otherwise, I mean, I love Kenosha. So, I mean, really, the true answer is there's really nothing I would change. I love it here.
Open up Kennedy Drive?
Yeah, I would definitely just make Kennedy Drive. If I was the mayor and there was 17 clones on the city council, that'd be one of the first things I'd do. Kennedy Drive would be open till 10, and we'd have a party out there at Kennedy Park.
There we go. Yeah. A bonfire out there.
What do you do on the beach?
Oh, yeah.
It's right down the road.
That's right. All right. Which now closed Kenosha business do you wish you could bring back?
Oh, goodness. Closed Kenosha businesses that I wish I could bring back. Well, the theater, the Roosevelt Theater, would be a good one. And I just for nostalgia is coins. I mean, the old coins. I mean, that place, like I said, I spent many a nights there. You know, when I was a dispatcher working second shift, it was 3 to 11. So I got off of work. I was home at 11:30. I was showered by 12, and I had my 2.5 hours at Coins. And so for nostalgia's sake, I'd open that bar. But it was a safe bar. There wasn't fights. It had a good crowd. It was a fun place where everybody knew everybody's name. But again, we're talking 15 years ago. So.
All right, Kevin, you're on a diet now, so this might not apply this summer. But if we have to go somewhere, are we going to the Big Star or the Spot?
The Spot.
The Spot, yeah.
So I lived only a few blocks. I lived close enough that I could get there and back under the influence safely without driving.
Oh, he's canceled.
So I've been there for so long. I've been in that neighborhood. I was in that neighborhood for 11 years, and I had the Spot so often that it grew on me. And getting those jugs of the root beer.
Oh.
Big Star is great, but if I have to choose one, I gotta choose the Spot.
Yeah, they're both great. Yeah. Spot's great, but you get what you pay for. Spot's a little more expensive, but it's a little bit better, too. Big Star's a little bit cheaper, but it's still good. But yeah.
Plus, it didn't help you. We were right there in the neighborhood.
Oh, yeah. Play some disc golf, grab some Spot.
There you go.
And then you're home.
You bring a burger with you on the corner. Boom.
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah. All right. That was our Kenosha Connects, and that was brought to you by Casey Family Options.
Thank you, Steve, for your sponsorship for
Yes,
that.
thank you.
Appreciate that. And what time is it now, Donnie?
Ding, ding, ding. It's trivia time.
Oh, boy. And trivia is brought to you by
The Letter Machine. That's Kenosha's go-to apparel store for your event, for anything. They specialize in custom shirts, hats, tote bags, and more. They will make your vision a reality. Visit thelettermachine.com for all the details, or stop in and say hi to Tina and Dave and the rest of the family at 725 50th Street.
All right, now it's time for our famous trivia game where our guest pits against Donnie in this totally random, completely fair, definitely not skewered trivia challenge.
All right.
We have 3 questions for each of you. We have a random subject generator, which I'm going to pull out here. It's kind of big. I got to get it out from under the table
That's
here.
what she said.
So let's see. Okay, there it is. So let's see. Let's give it a big little whirl here and see what the subject is. So we go. And And the subject is photography.
Oh boy.
So completely random, but let's see.
Wonderful.
So like I said, we have 3 questions for each of you. Kevin, would you like to go first? You'd like to have Donnie go first.
I'd like to go first.
All right, Kevin. We've all heard the acronym FPS. What does FPS stand for?
Frames per second.
Yay!
All right, good job.
Wonderful. I'm going to really do good at this.
I have a good feeling about you, Donnie.
Thank you.
I have another acronym here for you, Donnie.
Okay.
What does DSLR stand for?
Don't let go.
Yeah, you're doing great.
Photos. I don't
You guys suck!
Can I steal?
Sure.
Digital single lens reflex.
Oh, boy.
Yay!
I think he's going to know this trivia.
Can I make a call to Sam Vaughn or something?
Sorry. All right, Kevin, second question for you.
All right.
Although we don't see it much anymore, the red eye effect ruined many great pictures back in the day. What caused red eye?
I believe it had something to do with the way that the light reflects back and forth in the eye, but I don't know what the technical term
Yay.
No,
for it
that's
is.
exactly what I was looking
All right.
for. Light from a flash reflected from the back of the eyeball. Yeah, good job. Donnie,
Yeah.
here's your second question.
Okay, let's go.
On a traditional camera, what shutter speed setting will make the photo the darkest?
10.
You guys suck! I'm sorry, it's incorrect. That is 1/1000th of a second, the shortest speed on most cameras.
That's close.
All right. So, Kevin, you're whipping them here, 2-0.
All right.
Got a final question for you, just for fun.
All
here.
right.
What famous photo company did George Eastman start in 1892?
Oh, my goodness. I'm just going to have to go with Kodak.
Yay!
And you would be right.
Nice.
Donnie, can you get one right here?
Let's just see.
Okay, I saved the easy one for you for last.
Thank you.
Okay, Donnie. The opening of a lens is measured as an F number, but what is this opening called? The opening of a lens. Oh, you're so close. Yeah.
Lens opening station.
Can I steal it?
Sure.
The aperture
You
or
got
f-stop.
it. You got it. Well done, Kevin.
Well.
You have taken Donnie in our trivia game, and you have won a koozie from...
Oh,
There
thank
you
very
go.
much.
Lettering
Ktown
machine.
Connects koozie, courtesy of the letter machine. There you go to keep all your drinks from sweating.
Good quality.
Yeah, only the best from the lettering machine.
Yes.
Well,
yes.
the deck was rigged in my favor. I appreciate that.
It was totally fair. It was
Yes.
totally random.
totally fair.
Not scared. We don't mess around. We're not gonna.
All right, Kevin, that was a great show. Thank you for coming on. We appreciate it. Your story, your connection to Kenosha. I think everybody will be pleasantly surprised with how the show
We'll see what our
went.
feedback
I hope
gets
so.
from
Yes,
people.
yes.
But it was a great show. So you can find all of his news, everything that's fit to include at KenoshaCountyEye.com. And you're on Facebook now? You're back on?
Facebook and X. Yeah, I'm technically allowed back on Facebook, but for what it's worth, I'm boycotting with my personal account. I'm not going to go back on there.
Okay.
I'm sure Zuckerberg is phased by that.
Yeah, right. All right, so we'd like to thank all of our great sponsors.
Yes, let's thank them. They pay the bills, right?
I know. So we got to thank them, including the law offices of Frank Parise,
Aaron Hunzinger of AH Did It.
About Time Moving Systems,
Casey Family Options, Funerals and Cremations.
Dickow Czak,
Frank's Diner.
Shannon Franklin of Remax Elite,
Union Park Tavern.
The Lettering Machine,
Public Brewing Company.
A Plus Mobility,
Oh boy, this is a long list. Alpaca Art.
Faded Barbershop for Men,
And they're at their new location, 4807 7th Avenue.
Lakeshore Pedal Tour.
Lucci's Grandview.
You don't need to make it longer.
Well, you gotta give them a plug. They just moved, baby.
That's true, but they can. Sallese and Company,
The Port. Our good friend Craig at the Port.
The White Lilac.
And of course, Wink Beauty Boutique. Thank you all so much for that.
I think we need to charge more so we have fewer sponsors.
So out of your sponsors, About Time Moving, they moved me.
Yeah.
Holy crap, they're good.
Yeah, Quinn is good.
Yeah,
Quinn and his
that-
team are great.
That is the best company to use. They protected
Yep.
every door jam. They had runners. I mean, it was. I felt like I was being pampered.
Very
They are the
professional.
best.
Very professional.
And Frank is a very good lawyer. He's been nice enough to hire me for a couple cases.
Yes,
Yeah,
good old
sponsors you guys have.
Yeah, oh, thank you,
We're proud
thank
of
you.
them. We're proud of
Yes,
them.
yeah.
Well, Donnie.
Well, Frank, you. I love Frank when he signs off on those emails.
You guys, He has. The rumor is he's got a Parise Navidad festival every year, so we'll see where it is this year.
Okay, all right, I like it. Well, once again, thank you so much. That's KenoshaCountyEye.com. And Jason, you know what? After all these shows, 85, 86 shows.
786, right?
Boy, it's always fun, isn't it?
But Donnie, I got to ask you, what are we doing here, though?
We are connecting Kenosha.
Well, as long as you guys are ready for the heat, you're going to get.